people pulling out guns on people, threatening to pull up on people. It's not a game. Like, people don't understand this. I don't put this online. You're probably the first one to ever hear this. I'm chilling. I'm just on your time. I'm trying to figure out how you maneuver through your podcast.
That's an easy answer. I don't. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm surprised you even agreed to recording with me at this time on this day. So thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Holy Saturday, Sabbath day for some of the folks out there. Shout out to them celebrating on this wonderful day. I think it's just a great time to research. That's what I use it for.
Yeah. Well, I spent the day helping my friend move. So you can't smell me through the camera, but just know that I smell like someone who's been helping someone move for the last 7 hours. What was I going to say? So when I honestly, you've been really going hard with the content lately from, that very room. When did you upgrade all the AV? Because that camera and the lighting and everything is just great. And then my follow-up question is going to be, what are you currently using?
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you that first as I'm working backwards. So TB Digital put me onto this from Producer Grind. It's called the Sony A7 III. And the lens is 0.19 meter or M FE18 point, or excuse me. Sorry.
Oh, f-stop 140.
And then /20G. I don't know what that stands for.
So it's one of those mirrorless micro thirds cameras, I think.
I don't know, but I'll send you the Amazon link. Is that fair?
Yeah. Would you say it was a Sony what?
Sony A7C.
Sony A7.
I got to give credit because both Superstar O told me, and then TB Digital told me. So I learned too. I'm too far away from this camera. I'm really supposed to be like this close.
Oh no, it's a full frame mirrorless camera. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about either. I had no idea. Well, that's a gem for whoever to take that and run with it. It costs about $5,000 altogether. It was an investment. It was a heavy investment I was putting off. And I just waited up until Black Friday to justify it because that's when the sales pick up. And then I was like, okay, let me just invest. Because I saw Curtis King had a really nice setup. He gave me some tips. I want to shout him out too. And everybody's aesthetic was just looking different. And mine was just looking crazy because I had, ceiling lights on, wires hanging out. It was just looking crazy. Long story short, lighting is the secret. Like what you have is the key. Because I had to go through the video that I posted recently reacting to you. And I took a screenshot and that was the thumbnail from the frame of the video because it just already looks good.
I mean, I didn't have the greatest facial expression in that particular screenshot, but I'm not going to split hairs here. And plus, I've put your body on the Mean Girls poster and on the Will Smith Bad Boys poster too. So I'm not going to say anything about it.
I was trying to because my computer lags. Just to give you, I wasn't throwing shade or nothing on CapCut. It just like I don't know how people edit 4K video because it stutters when you try to edit. I don't know how people do it.
They have amazing GPUs, I think.
Oh, see, I'm not a computer and camera guy. I have no idea. But that's when I upgraded to answer your question. And it just keeps people's attention a little bit longer.
Wait, what lighting are you using then?
This is called a Godox. Oh, wait, my light's not picking up. It's called a Godox TL. They're like $400, but like Godox TL something. And they're just really good. You just put them up. You need a tripod for it. And I just have two of them and they just sit in the back and you could change the color. You could do, alternate colors. You could do whatever it is.
So there's no light directly on you right now. There has to be a frontal light.
My fault. Yes. Dang, I don't know the name of all this stuff. So forgive me. This is called a Mount Dog.
Oh, no. Yeah, I have that. That's okay.
Yeah. It's just like a little diffuser light, I think.
It's called. It's a softbox, right? It's kind of like a square and it has the Mount Dog on the side and there's a sheet and you can change it from cool to warm and all that.
I know I sound so stupid right now, but I learned from this guy, Ben Johnson, I want to say, on YouTube. He's the GOAT for all this stuff. I think his name is Ben Johnson. I want to plug him because he made me decide on all this stuff. And I'm going to give you guys to your audience or to you all the like Amazon links or whatever y'all want.
Okay, great. Yeah, get an affiliate link. What was I going to say? So it's funny because you mentioned Curtis King. I talked to Curtis King earlier today. there's just a lot of communication happening among producers. And I don't want to talk about any kind of producer beef, least of all, whenever you and Curtis King had whatever was going on. That as serious or non-serious as it was, it hurt my heart because I really like both of you. But having said that, so as a parallel, I'm in a group with Soul way back before I even knew the man. Back, I don't even know, early 2000s maybe. He had a feud with another rapper named LP, who's in Run the Jewels.
Okay.
I don't think either of them care about that. I know he doesn't, but we put music out very recently, and I'll get comments on my channel talking about that's why LP this and that's why, and it's like, bro, this beef is 20 years old. And when I look at the internet now, the only people, not even the only people, but the people that are fueling any sort of conflict among any of us, including yourself and Curtis King, given the fact that it's a non-issue, they're more emotionally invested in this feud than I think either of you ever were.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
It's such a strange psychological phenomenon, don't you think?
You know what? Because ultimately, once I figured out that the greatest marketers tell stories, you hear that all the time. But we don't think to study Shakespeare's stories. Shakespeare has characters. The number one thing about a story the number one thing about a story is that it has characters. And that's the principle that I didn't realize I was a character in the producer community on their stage play of people that they pay attention to. Once you got to that point, won't you say this? Won't you agree that once you became a name, you could literally talk about anything? It does not have to be about how to slide your 808s. People care about your opinion. They want to see you. When you say you reach that point and then it's about you at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, that's really the goal, right? You want your personality to lead your brand.
Right. And once you become that face, like people break out of that thing. Once they become a face, it's okay to move around a little bit. So long story short, there's something called the hero's journey. And it starts out by a guy, going on a journey. He has a lot of unknowns, they're called. Then he runs into friction, and then he gathers unknowns. He gets a mentor. He goes through, he has another frustration, and then he has what's called reconciliation, and then he comes back to the beginning. So the people are so interested in it, me and Curtis King, for example, because it fulfilled that hero's journey. And, if you even equate it to biblical stuff, from my perspective, it was the Jesus story. In this case, I was the Jesus of the story. And I felt like at that time, and me and Curtis King cleared this up, but the reason I had so much energy behind it is because I thought he was the Judas of the story, or the Brutus, if we're talking about Caesar and Brutus. I thought I got betrayed by my own kind. That's why I was so energetic behind it. And it turned into that hero's journey. Now, again, me and Curtis King squashed that, but I'm willing to share details just to give information and to share with people how to overcome that stuff. But that's one thing I learned. I'll kind of add this in, is that a lot of people want to stir up the pot intentionally. And I can tell you, it's just, I've tried controversy multiple times. It just is the one marketing tool that works tremendously. You might make a lot of money, but what comes with that is like the energy of hell. I just don't know what it is about the universe, but controversy just brings in the worst energy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Sometimes I look at people who are drumming up controversy, and I think, well, they're on the surface winning, but I don't know what's happening in their actual lives. I think it's funny because I like playing with that. I think I played with that on my last video where I reacted to your exposing the music business one day at a time series, and I called it exposing BusyWorks music business. It's something or other. I mean, it was just a play on the word expose. And, exposing, I think nowadays in the new speak, exposing necessarily means gossiping about somebody. When in reality, if I'm exposing you to new video technology, that's a very positive thing.
Right.
But so when I said I'm exposing BusyWorks video, all that meant to me was I'm showing it to my audience. I'm giving it exposure on my platform.
Thank you.
Which was great because, I think you said a lot of amazing things, and then I could interject where I could. And it just felt like a conversation, even though you weren't actually there in real time. But I mean, there were people who weren't even watching the video or something because they were like, fuck, Payne won. Why are you exposing BusyWorks? He didn't say anything wrong. And I'm like, wait a minute. I agreed with everything he said. All I did was add my own experiences in. And then someone was like, I don't even see how you're exposing him. Like, are you disappointed that I'm not beefing with BusyWorks? So, hey, maybe we could have some fake feuds. I don't know. Is that energetically bad as well? I don't know. Probably, because you have that would have a negative impact on our viewers because they would think it was real if we did it the right way and really made it feel contentious.
I think there's other ways, like on Produced by Jack or like Simon Servita just put up a video just before I went live with you. I saw it said bedroom producers versus internet producer, and it had Simon Servita on one side and then Kavi on the other side. And of course they're friends. That's why they made the video. So I think there's stuff like that where we can be polar opposites of something without it being like beefing, like hating, that hate energy. I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about all the consequences of me and Curtis King's beat battle. But you said something just before that, and I want to make sure I'm tapping into that thought. Just the key word you were on. What were you focusing on just a second ago?
What word, exposure, was it?
Oh, expose. Right. So what I learned from top level marketers is that when we bring people in to expect the negative, because people look for the flaws. I'm going to give your audience some tips real quick. There's 4 levels of a viewer or 4 levels of a content consumer. You have the first level, which is the spectator. So these are the people who it's called reach on our side of things. These are the people that just kind of see our impressions over time. Then that second level is called the skeptic. So we want to take people from being a spectator over to a skeptic. The first thing humans do is seek flaw. So we have to create justification for their objections, they're called. We learn this in sales, like all the doubts they have in their head, we need to clear those with truths, and we need to falsify their doubts. So long story short, to take a spectator to a skeptic, we have to bring in curiosity. That's the exposed title, for example. We're bringing in curiosity. Now, people expect the negative, but once we flip it into the positive, we keep them longer. So that's the secret to TikTok. Part of the algorithm is expect negative, flip it into positive. And that's how you stay on the positive side. Long story short, to move the skeptic to the subscriber, we have to, again, get over those objections or those doubts and convert that false, them looking for flaws into them following as a subscriber. Now, the only currency they share with us is to watch, view, share. That's it. No money exchanged. So the final step, once we convert them to a supporter, this is when they take the dollars out of the pocket, hand it to us, and believe in the mission so much that they'll put their financial security on the line to help us, our hard-earned dollars. And we appreciate that. I mean, the thing about the hundreds of thousands of people you've influenced with your words, and like they've just came back and supported it as if you're like a president of some country. We really have to think, we're kings here and we have to serve our people. And I think that's an honor. I'm super honored. And I want to shout out your community, everybody who's watching this, the email list I'm going to blast this to. Shout out to everybody. But those are the 4 levels, though. So once people understand how to move people through those 4 levels, they'll do better at social media. I think everybody expects the one viewer to do everything for them. And again, it comes to those 4 levels.
So this is actually a conversation. I guess I'm not going to say who I was having the conversation with, just because why? It was a private conversation. But yeah, a mutual friend of ours, and it was just us kind of theorizing as to why it feels like there is this leaning in towards the negative in the producer community right now. Just in terms of the content, it's negative. I think it has been for a while. I think a lot of producers tend to rally around the folks who have poignant negativity. They have a target for their negativity, and it just kind of feels like, I don't know, pro wrestling, even though these are real people who really could suffer some consequences in the field of reality, so to speak. Do you have a theory as to, I might have a couple, but do you have a theory as to why producer content seems to just be leaning way further into the negative than it has been in the previous years?
Yeah, it's because what happens when you leave kids in the house alone, for example? And before I even get into it, I want to say that me and DJ Payne, one, we're in a mastermind together. I'm very friendly with you. I support whatever you do. I can't wait till you launch a course. If you didn't already, I'm going to help.
I have not, but I appreciate your help because people like you keep me accountable for that.
Yeah. And it's just, we work together in a mastermind. There's very few people who are action takers who work together on this higher level. And you were one of those. So I want to thank you. But to continue, like Weaver Beats, for example, who tries to bring in a lot of dissonance in the community. Objectively, you could say that that's not a subjective opinion. You just look at the titles. It's calling people out and accusing them of crimes. The top video, saying my family in another video, really trying to make people look a certain way. And I think what's come down to is leaving kids in the home without the father there to correct everything. Long story short, it comes down to accountability, but also it goes down to that human need to seek for flaw. And so because we have those unknowns and that curiosity, that's what keeps people going down that rabbit hole to discover the new thing about somebody they didn't understand. And people are manipulating that inner DNA, affinity to keep people watching for the next thing and the next thing. But like you said, it gets real when people pull out guns, threaten lives, lawsuits, when your dissonant information and videos split up families, hurt relationships. Like that's what Weaver is doing. And I had to deal with a lot of that behind the scenes. Unfortunately, people pulling out guns on people, threatening to pull up on people. It's not a game. Like people don't understand this. I don't put this online. You're probably the first one to ever hear this. I'll kind of keep it vague, but with an audio software company, for example, one of the, like a CMO or CEOs was doing something, playing around with another content creator's name. And it was almost some street stuff that was about to go down. And I had to stop that behind the scenes. Nobody knows about that. I don't talk about that. But that's like the real thing. And I think because these people live in Hawaii, they don't think they can be touched by the law, by people. So I think that's what it comes down to. They don't think there's an equal and opposite for what goes down. But the universe exacts all revenge anyway, from the law of correspondence. So I just try to keep peace, with all the leaders behind the scenes, hop on the phone, whether it's Ab McCree, EA Ski, Curtis King, myself, Dame Taylor, whoever, and just solve it. But sometimes it just goes beyond the conversation, unfortunately. And then I think going back to your earlier point, the people who instigate the fights don't understand they're stirring up those emotions again. And then you have the ego battle where both men can't look weak and they continue the battle. And then that destroys even further. So all I'm trying to do is just stop the destruction and let's build instead of destroy. Let's just figure out a way to mutually agree to disagree, but still build in a future movement as opposed to against each other. So that's the message I put out recently. I mean, maybe over time it'll change. I got to offer forgiveness for everybody. I'm just objectively looking at the titles, the content, and what is the result. And then I'm just, 1 + 1 is 2.
Well, I mean, it feels like that formula works. It feels like when you look at the Vlad TV empire, for example, that's very much someone stirring the pot and then profiting from the fallout, which has been called out quite a, shout out to Royce the 5'9". I feel like for every Vlad, there needs to be a Royce. Someone who's actually, I guess I don't want to get into who's in the culture, who's outside of the culture, but
what did Royce do? I'm unfamiliar about it.
Vlad's been stirring the pot for a long time. And well, also shout out to Royce for the whole Yellow Wolf situation. I'm riding with Royce 100% on that. I don't care what anyone has to say, but that's just me being more philosophically aligned with one side over another on this conversation about hip hop and socio-political topics. But with Vlad, I think there's just a general sense that he's exploiting Black culture and profiting from Black trauma. And Royce called that out, but there was this one particular situation, and I don't even personally think it was about that situation. I think it was about everything surrounding the situation, but it was the misquoting of Farrakhan that caused a lot of people to become defectors who were previously aligned with Vlad. But I think Royce expressed his sentiments towards that situation pretty eloquently. So that's why I was like, okay,
Right.
cool. I'm riding with him.
Yeah, I think the Minister Farrakhan is a wonderful orator. I'm so hypnotized when I listen to him. I know he gets to the extreme sometimes, but like Jesus said, it's like lukewarm doesn't work. You got to be hot or cold. You cannot be in the middle where nobody cares. So I think a lot of speakers on that level, they have to push it to the next level to get a reaction and to get people to really feel a conviction about something, whether they're wrong or right.
But it goes back to, I mean, Farrakhan's history aside, it goes back to what you said about accountability, which was something that I think was at the core of this conflict with Vlad, where rather than apologize and take accountability for the misquote, he doubled down and said, well, I'll apologize when I can get him on the platform. And it was just like, okay, well, this is just not someone who necessarily has the best interests of the community that he exploits for content in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I watched his Tony Yayo series and I was very intrigued, like the whole way through. Tony Yayo, I don't know why that caught my eye, but I did watch Tony Yayo, and I think Michael Franzese caught my eye from his channel. Now, the business model I understand, but it's like people keep saying yes. We need to address the people who keep saying yes, who take the deal or whatever it is to go on the platform. You know, the platform can't work without the fuel, and the fuel is the people. So we need to talk to those people, set them aside and say, what is it that draws you into this platform? What makes you think it's okay to, that's who we need to kind of address more so than the actual machine. But also you brought up Royce the 5'9", and if he's talking about the dissonance of the community or culture vultures, I guess that was the topic. Forgive me because I'm ignorant, but I remember he was on Clubhouse one time and I gave him adulation. I said, wow, you've done such a great job. Your last album, Boblo Boat or something, that song was really dope.
Yeah, with J. Cole, amazing song.
I was like, that is an amazing song. On Clubhouse, I said, thanks, man. Kind of kept it casual. Followed him, I think, on Instagram, whatever it was. Now, a couple months, or I forget how long after, he reposted my How to Make a New York beat in FL Studio and like clowned it and said, this is New York hip hop deal, and like clowned me. But I was trying to embrace Royce the 5'9" on my channel as coming in as a producer. So it's like, I'm trying to embrace somebody coming in as a producer. Hey. And then they just trash you as the host. And it's like, if you're for the community, why would you bash one of the top leaders in the community? So I don't know, there's a little conflict in the mind going for me, but maybe, I don't know. I said I appreciated the post, but at the same time, I didn't appreciate the light that he gave it because it's making me, this is like 7 years ago, a video made when there was no teachers out then. So I was learning all myself. So I just felt like he just misused my content, but it is what it is. I never met the man. So.
Yeah. I was going to mention also too, a lot of us have direct links with one another. And I think that's great. Like Ab McCree's name came up. Ab McCree likes to stir the pot. I don't think he does it in a harmful way, but, I can always text him, or like even when I was gonna respond to your video, I texted you and I was like, this is kind of what I want to do. And we had a conversation about that. And I feel like that's something that's not present as much as it should be with the way the internet works. You just can't.
Yeah.
You don't have that direct link to everybody to really discuss things, and then you put them out there and
True.
The internet just runs with whatever. And once it's on the internet, now it's out of anyone's control.
Yeah, I thought you had some bars to get off. You were like revving up. I thought you were about to drop some bars. Yeah, for example, that's why that mastermind group is. I said in the beginning, I think a lot of people missed this when we had 200 something people. I didn't know everybody, so I closed it because I was like, they're doing business and I don't know what they're doing. But and I haven't started a new one, by the way. So nobody's excluded. I just haven't built up the next one. So what happened was I said there was a lot of conflict. Curtis King, Ab McCree, MG, CMP. Back then they had Spicy Sundays, I think. And I just wanted to pull everybody under one.
Oh, yeah. They love talking about me on that show. I never saw it. I would just always hear, oh, your name came up. And then I'm like, okay, I don't.
it's like at the end of the day, once I realized that literally if you wipe all these conversations away and go, who are the players in the game? DJ Payne 1, MG The Future, J Cactus, produced by Jack, Simon Sarita, Kavi. I'm going to miss a lot of people. Sharp, yourself. I already said you. I'm starting to repeat myself. Curtis King, blah, blah, blah. Ab McCree. Once you realize there's only about 50 max, 50 is even way too high, probably 20 or 10, I would even say, people that actually do this, then you realize we're all on the same team. We're just different positions in the game. And that's why I think having that communication channel is very important. But you could have put up the video, for example, on your channel, said whatever you wanted to say. But in my mind, I'm going, he's fam. Like, I don't care if he has, bless you. I don't care if he has different views than me or whatever. He has the right because he's put in so much work. I'm going to look at his body of work before I look at the 0.0001%. He could have had a bad day that day. For example, Ab McCree you brought up. I don't know if this is public. Forgive me, Ab. I don't know if he made this public, but he lost his mother. I don't know if that's public.
Oh, wow.
And my mom lost her mother when she was 18. So she was like lost for years and years and years and years and years. The pain was just so deep that I had to gain so much empathy because I had to deal with a mother who lost a mother and didn't have any guidance, even from the father at that point in time, and felt so estranged from life. So I was just having empathy with Av. Like, it doesn't matter if you go on a rage, call me crazy, call your family, whatever. You're going through something that nobody can really relate to until it happens. And that's where I have to ultimately give a ton of empathy. And I just wish more people would just say, maybe something else is happening in their life to where this is even deeper than this video. Because I was even going through a tough time when I was going to Curtis King. I brought this to him, not to go on and on, but, I was going through a tough situation at home where like relationship stuff. And there's two different situations and it was putting me on edge to where I was snapping at everybody and everything. And he just caught it. He happened to catch the energy that I wanted to get out on those situations. And it just amplified. So it wasn't just the Curtis King thing. It was all these other things plus. And I think that's what people tend to forget. But that's why I said at the end of the day, we're characters to these people. They want to watch a Shakespeare play. They're not turning into YouTube to really learn. They're like me. I go on YouTube. I just want to be inspired by something, see what's funny, or, catch up on a podcast. Nowadays, it's like what thumbnail looks cool. But you know what I mean? I'm not going on there to it's not you to me anymore. I think that's the main difference. So that's my thoughts. Not to overtalk you for.
Yeah, Illmind actually gave me very similar advice when it came to just dealing with all the negativity on the internet and because none of it's in person. None of it's in person. I think you put all of us in a room, even if we've previously said pretty nasty stuff about each other, the energy would be different. Which I don't think is a great thing. I think that shows you that there's very little accountability on the internet, but it also shows that as humans, sometimes when we are suffering, we do allow that. I mean, it's still our decision. It's still something we need to take accountability for, regardless of what we're going through. But as humans, we have the ability to misdirect that energy, but then also after the fact, take accountability for it and say, you know what? I don't even know you like that. I'm sorry for saying that. Or you're right. That was I wish I could take that back. And then, cool, whatever. But yeah, ultimately, I think we're all in the same space and we are, anyone who takes a shot at me, I have to believe that they genuinely feel like that's the right thing to do for their viewership. And maybe after the fact, they feel like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Cool, whatever, you're human. You were probably going through some stuff because, yeah, if I'm going through some stuff and I get an angry comment and someone's talking about, why are you making a video about BMI? You should be talking about copyright. It's like, suck a dick. I don't go, who are you? What do you? I made a million videos about exactly what you're telling me I need to make a video about. Who the fuck are you? So, but if I'm having a great day, I'm like, that's a stupid comment. Ignore. So I can't sit up here and grandstand about other people doing to me what I've certainly done to other people.
Right. And I got to back you up to say, like, until you answer 3,000 emails a year from customers and random people, you just don't understand how people actually think. And some days I see comments and I'm like, F this dude and his entire family tree. And then the next day I'm going, thank you. So I can block all your friends and everything. I'm like, thanks, stupid. Now I can block all your friends and keep you away from my life. So, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to come against people who just have no backing to their thoughts and just are pure emotional haters.
You know what's something that we all have in common is, anyone who was in that masterminds group, it doesn't matter who it is, you, Curtis King, me, Simon, any of us. I feel like because we've been around so long making this content, and kind of at a certain point feels like we're preachers or teachers or, just these authority figures. People start looking at us as gatekeepers because of that. The same way when we were in grade school, we look at the teachers as corny. Now people are looking at us as corny. And I think, well, hey, even if we have a difference of opinion, we are all corny as fuck to some 15-year-old who just got a copy of FL. And I honestly feel like you're probably way cooler than I am in real life.
I don't know. Where are you located?
I'm in Wisconsin. No, I'll tell you straight up.
Oh,
okay. In real life, I am a very corny person. I will tell stupid jokes. I will be corny. So if people are calling me corny on the internet, yeah, okay. I'm not defending myself against that.
I mean, I listened to Patrice O'Neal, the late great Patrice O'Neal. He's just the most funniest person I've ever listened to. And once you listen to him, you kind of pick up the humor and the patterns of talking. Offline, I think I'm pretty hilarious, at least to my fiance and my little baby boy that I had to take.
That's all that matters.
But yeah, it's just about realizing that people are, I'll say it like this, because I know Dame Taylor says it a lot, but being human, but I've been saying this for years and years and years, is that people they like to see flaws because that's what makes us human and not robotic. Think about the only thing that makes us human is literally emotions. That's the only thing. So if we stop expressing emotions, we don't appear as human to people. And I think with teaching, there's no subjective stance to have. So where's the emotion in teaching? Because you're just saying the facts, not you, but me as well.
Oh, I put a lot of emotion in teaching because I am sick of making these damn.
Y'all not registering beats.
Yeah, like here's the information from BMI. Yeah, but PROs do protect your copyright. How? It literally, I'm reading straight off the PRO's website. We do not enforce, protect, or offer any sort of copyright. And then it's always someone in the comments, well, don't listen to Payne. He's full of shit. Like, bitch, you're not listening to me. You're listening to the actual company that you are claiming does exactly what that very company claims they do not do on their own website. Are they lying to you about what they do and the nature of their services? Come on. So maybe that's my niche. Maybe that's my thing. Emotional, educational content. I hope it's not, but it might be.
That's deep. That's actually deep. Because maybe that's what created the Jesuses of the world, to create the emotional content.
Yeah, but look what they did to Jesus.
Yeah, that was yeah, nobody wants to end like that.
That was bad, yeah.
No, but think about it. Like, the people who are haters, for example, literally don't exist until we acknowledge them. Doesn't that make you a god of their universe? They don't exist unless you acknowledge them. And once I realized I'm their god, so to speak, and I don't mean capital G for all the Christians and whatever, you know what I mean? I'm their ruler because I make them exist. So once I realized I had that power, I stopped worrying about what haters have to say. But Mike Trampy, I want to shout him out too.
Busy Works the creator.
Busy Works the creator instead of Tyler Busy the creator. Oh man, that's funny. Shout out to Mike Trampy though, because he shouted you out. I want to ask too,